Are you ready to untangle from your past, recover from heartbreak, and revive your life? This is Soul CPR with your host, Ann Papayoti. We've all had soul-crushing experiences and lost ourselves in our pain, but there is a way out. On this podcast, Amazon best-selling author, award-winning life coach, and advice columnist Ann Papayoti helps us navigate the path from heartbreak to healing. So now, please welcome the host of Soul CPR, Ann Papayoti.
Perhaps you've been taught that love should be wild and messy and all-consuming. But what if the healthiest love is calm and safe and drama-free? In this episode of Soul CPR, we're exploring the rise of soft life love. It's a shift away from chaos and trauma bonds into relationships that feel like exhaling. And if you've ever confused intensity for intimacy, then this one's for you. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's get into it. So, what is the soft life movement? Well, it originated as a lifestyle choice, one of ease and joy, simplicity, and rest over hustle and stress, and always feeling like you're in survival mode. And according to articles in both Forbes and Psychology Today by Mark Travers, PhD, the term soft life originated within a Nigerian influencer community and has since literally spread globally and largely through social media platforms. This movement emphasizes comfort and relaxation and the prioritization of personal well-being over the relentless productivity and societal expectations. And according to this author, it's more than a fleeting social media phenomenon. It's truly a mindset shift in what matters most, which results in a fundamental shift in how people then approach their lives at both work and home. It's about seeking balance and peace and wellness above all other. So, in essence, it is a redefining of success. So, this really aligns with an entire generational shift towards wellness and therapy and what we call conscious dating. So, hashtags are popping up like soft life or soft girl era, soft love, healing girl era. And they have millions of views at this point. And the movement has expanded into the realm of relationships. So creators talk about dating people who make them feel emotionally safe and respected and cared for, no longer tolerating projects, if you will, or struggle types of love or emotionally unavailable partners. So, choosing relationships that feel emotionally safe and peaceful and reciprocal. Now, that is quite the contrast with a mindset of ride or die and hard love or healing through a partner type mentality, right? Each of those implies the addictive cycle of highs and lows, the roller coaster ride, if you will, the kind you get in line for over and over again. There is a sense of thrill, but then it leaves you. You have to go back for it again. Now, therapists and coaches on platforms like Psychology Today, Very Well Mind, Substack, they're writing about the desire for secure, regulated, and reciprocal relationships. And again, that's a stark contrast to this roller coaster love that many people were once conditioned to chase. Attachment theory, nervous system regulation, and trauma-informed dating are becoming mainstream topics, and you've probably heard a lot about that. We've talked about attachment theory on this show ourselves. So, why do we mistake chaos, this roller coaster ride of a relationship, for chemistry? Well, experts say it has to do with what's known as trauma bonding. And that has to do with how unstable childhoods or past toxic partners program us to seek adrenaline over attunement, if you will, with someone. So, what is trauma bonding? Trauma bonding is a psychological response where a person forms an intense emotional attachment to someone who's causing them harm. Often it's through a repeated cycle of, it could be abuse or just manipulation of some sort, some kind of emotional instability. Now, it's most common in relationships marked by what's known as intermittent reinforcement. And that's where there are periods of affection or connection followed by periods of emotional neglect or criticism or some sort of volatility. So, this creates a push pull dynamic that keeps the brain craving what? The next high, the next thrill, much like an addiction. So, this emotional roller coaster creates literally a biochemical bond rooted in dopamine, cortisol, oxytocin, meaning you're going to feel hooked. Not because the love is real or healthy, but because your nervous system is constantly in survival mode. Now, I know this sounds messed up, and many people I meet are keenly aware that they are in a trauma bond with someone else, but they can't break up. Just like an addiction to an illicit drug that's harmful to their system, so is their relationship. Yet the addiction creates that craving for the next hit, and so they stay or they return. There's a lure that they can't kick on their own. So it's going to take a detox, and I'm serious here. Full on abstinence, no exposure, quitting cold turkey. We were talking about this in support group last night. Just started a new spring group, and there's a lot of trauma in the relationships that have the stories that have been shared so far. So people have to be willing to go through the withdrawals, have support, a person or a group of people who will not let you return to the relationship while you detox. And it's a process until you are clear. You can't even do the next step, which is to create those healthy boundaries, because you're vulnerable and subject to relapse. I hope that makes sense to you listeners. And if you've been in a toxic relationship in which you've had a difficult time letting go, I imagine it does make sense. So, in this sense, the chaos is chemistry in the hormonal way, but it's not the chemistry you've romanticized about, is it? It's not the chemistry you wanted to replicate from your favorite romantic movies. It's toxic, unhealthy, and habit forming that keeps you from your best life. It negatively affects your nervous system, keeping your survival instinct lit on fire, meaning your sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for handling perceived threats. It's responsible for increasing your heart and your breathing rates. It's responsible for releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. It is a stress response that's unhealthy if activated for long periods of time. And for long periods of time, in this sense, it's going to take a toll on your mental and your physical well-being. The stress response is intended to be activated only for short bursts to help you survive real threats. It's not intended for your daily living. Many of our modern day diseases are linked to prolonged periods of stress. Okay, I'm going to stop with that. You get the picture. Love should not be this chaotic chemistry. So, back to trauma bonds. It skews our perception of true passion. Would you agree with that? And people who've experienced trauma bonding often mistake anxiety for what? Excitement. And they confuse emotional unavailability with mystery or intrigue. And they view drama and chaos perhaps as a sign of deep love or passion. And they equate this being obsessed with being in love. And this comes from, what did you learn about love as a child? Or what were your first experiences with romantic love like? How were you conditioned when it comes to romantic love? Because this type of relationship's highs are so intense, the lows feel something like something must be wrong with you. I can't tell you how often I hear this. Something must be wrong with me, not the relationship, if something's low. And then when the other person pulls away, the pain activates fear of, as you can imagine, abandonment or not being good enough, making the eventual reunion, and it's going to happen because it's a cycle. The reunion feels like that next hit of the drug, euphoric. Now, over time, this conditions you to believe that love must feel like fireworks and then heartbreak, not safety and calm. So, again, there's an entire movement to get away from this type of love and come to a new type of love that is safe and calm and different. We're going to go to our first commercial break now. And when we come back, we're going to get real and talk about what's not passion and what is a pattern instead. Don't go far. We'll be back with more Soul CPR.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to Soul CPR, everyone. I'm Ann Papayotti, and today we are talking about the soft life movement and what that means when it comes to love. And what it means is really getting rid of the drama and the trauma. And instead choosing something that's more calm and peaceful and reciprocal. So before the break, we were talking about trauma bonds, and what many people call passion in these relationships is actually really more of a trauma response. Now, you're not drawn to the person because of compatibility or love in this sense. You're reacting really to an unsolved or unresolved, if you will, wound. You're replaying an unfamiliar, or actually, you're replaying a familiar emotional script, whereas the soft love would be unfamiliar to you. So, unresolved wounds keep replaying the same emotional script. And that's why soft love can feel boring at first. It doesn't spike your adrenaline, it doesn't trigger old fears. But that's exactly why it's healthy. Let's get into some real talk about all this for just a minute. Perhaps you've been told that the butterflies, the adrenaline rush, the can't eat, can't sleep obsession, that's passion. I get it. That's chemistry. That's how you know it's love. But what if I told you that intense addictive feeling isn't passion at all? That it's a pattern? Because if you related to everything I said before the break, it's a trauma pattern. It's a nervous system loop that feels like home. And I say home because it's familiar, not because it's healthy. When you've grown up with emotional inconsistency, neglect, abandonment, or chaos, your brain will start associating unpredictability with love. Unpredictability. So when someone shows up and gives you mixed signals, hot 1 minute, cold the next, you don't run, you chase it. And you call it chemistry because that's what your nervous system has been trained to expect. But it's not love, it's this loop. And it's toxic. It's the body confusing anxiety with attraction. And over time, we start glamorizing that high, thinking the highs and the lows are both just part of the passion. But here's the truth. Real love feels like stability and not suspense. It's not fireworks, it's a fireplace. Steady, warm, consistent. It's not the roller coaster, it's a road trip with some nice stops along the way, some nice adventures. And yes, they can be exciting, and yes, you may feel the butterflies, but they're not built on that. And when you're healing from a trauma bond, it truly can feel boring at first. But boring is actually your body adjusting to safe love, to regulated love, to love that doesn't feel like survival. So if you've ever found yourself addicted to chaos in a relationship, don't shame yourself. Just recognize the pattern and understand where it came from in your life and start choosing differently. Believe you're worth something different. Because once you heal, soft love doesn't feel boring. It feels like peace. And that's where you'll find the real passion in love and in life. But what about this? What about pop culture glamorizing dysfunctional love in love stories? So I don't want to bust anybody's bubble here, but one of the most popular movies and love stories is from The Notebook. So Allie and Noah's characters there, they have a passionate love, but it's very volatile. And Hollywood really sold that to us. So just think about it for a moment if you're familiar with The Notebook, the film and or the book. Allie and Noah screaming, fighting, making up, tearing each other apart, and then collapsing into each other like it's the grandest love ever experienced. Well, psychologists give us a different lens to look at their love. They say while their love is enduring, it lasts over time. And that's a central theme of the story. The intensity of it and the lack of communication, the unresolved conflicts lead to a portrayal that's actually unhealthy and romanticizes emotional abuse. And that sets us, the viewers, up for what? We're the readers. Wanting that kind of love? Are you sure? And I hate to ruin that story for you. However, I do want to point these things out because we do glamorize and romanticize from the movies. But in this particular story, there are power control dynamics expressed through manipulation, emotional coercion, possessiveness, cheating, lack of communication, and those unresolved conflicts that perpetuate throughout their story. So I don't think that's healthy passion. It's actually emotional dysregulation on display for us. So if we can observe it that way and recognize what we do not want in our lives, that push, pull, intense kind of love may be familiar if you grew up with chaos. If your nervous system only knows survival mode, then that kind of relationship feels right, even if it's not healthy. But again, it's not passion, it's a pattern. It's a trauma bond in disguise. Real love doesn't feel like suspense. It's not, will they, won't they? It's of course they will, because they're consistent and clear and emotionally available. So if what we're calling soft love feels weird to you at first, if it feels boring, again, it's not. It's your nervous system learning to feel safe and secure and trusting. Now, safe love might not make a box office hit, I don't know, but it is what lasts. It is what heals. So, trying to think of a movie character or book character in contrast to The Notebook, where yelling and passionate fights and reunion sex were all signs and presented as true love. Maybe a couple, like if you're familiar with This Is Us, that was a series. I think it streams on Netflix, NBC now, maybe some other channels. Maybe a couple like Beth and Randall. And actually, there are a few couples in here that we see model relationships throughout the storyline. But the way they navigate life stressors with care and respect and emotional teamwork, how they resolve conflict, might be better models of healthy relationships and what I think would be in alignment with the soft love movement. So, to choose the soft life when it comes to love, you got to start by perhaps redefining love for yourself. What does it look like, sound like, feel like? Are you walking on eggshells? Or are you walking steady with your partner? I can tell you this, passion doesn't equal pain, or it shouldn't. So let's talk about something that's been romanticized far too long, and that is the idea that if love doesn't hurt a little or a lot, then it's not real. And that's another mindset that may come from stories, books, movies, even songs that tell us love should be intense and all-consuming and hard to hold on to. And if it doesn't break you at least once, is it even love? But here's the truth. Real love isn't supposed to hurt. Is it work? Yes. Relationships are work, but they're not supposed to be so hard, and they're not supposed to hurt us or harm us. They take effort. There will be challenges. But there's a difference between working through things together and suffering in the name of love or in the name of passion. So there's some things we have to stop doing. We have to stop confusing chaos with chemistry. We have to stop thinking that emotional highs and lows are proof of how deeply we care. Because here's what happens with all of that. We start to normalize pain in our relationships, and we overlook red flags because we'll justify and say, well, nobody's perfect. And we think that walking on eggshells is just part of love, or we'll explain away that they're just stressed because of their work, or they didn't mean to take it out on me again. And then we end up addicted to the drama because it feels familiar. But love doesn't have to be a battlefield, despite what Pat Benatar sang about. Healthy love is passionate and peaceful. It has, I guess you could say it has fire and foundation. You can have butterflies without bruises to your self-worth. So let's redefine love today. We're going to go for our second break, and when we come back, we're going to do it right here together. Don't go far. We'll be back with more Soul CPR.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soul CPR. Today, we are talking about healthy love versus unhealthy love at the end of the day, and the movement called the soft life movement and how that applies to love. And we were talking about trauma bonds and how that keeps us in an unhealthy definition of love. And now we're going to redefine love right here, right now for ourselves. So let's talk about what love is not. It is not about being rescued or broken and fixed or fighting for each other every single day. Let's talk about what love is. Love is about peace, safety, consistency, emotional presence, respect. Keep going. Fill in the blanks with the words that you need to replace whatever love has been for you, if it has been toxic, if it's been chaotic, if it has been bound through trauma rather than through true passion. Love is about feeling like you can Breathe fully around someone. Be authentic, not hold your breath, waiting for the next blow up, which is, again, something I hear repeatedly from clients. So if you grew up believing that love had to hurt somehow, or that it was okay, it was just part of it, let today's episode be your permission to rewrite that story. You don't have to earn love. You don't. And you certainly don't have to suffer in love. You don't have to mistake emotional turbulence for depth. And you don't have to bleed to prove it's real. Passion doesn't equal pain, and from now on, love should not either. What real intimacy feels like is consistency, calmness, curiosity about one another, compassion for one another and for oneself. We talk about red flags a lot. What are green flags? Green flags in soft love would be emotional attunement, gentle communication, slow and steady progression in the relationship, respect for boundaries. I heard someone say, emotional safety is the new sexy. I kind of like that. How about you? So, if you were to choose to live the soft life in your love life, let's talk about that. What does it actually look like to live the soft life in your love life? And are you ready to at least imagine it? Because choosing peace over chaos doesn't mean giving up passion, excitement, or connection. It means giving up self-abandonment. It means giving up hypervigilance, people-pleasing, and over-functioning to be loved. Soft love says you don't have to hustle for your worth here. You get to show up as you are, rested and regulated and respected. So what does soft love look like in real life? Let's think about it. It's texting back when you say you will. It's showing up when you say you will. It's consistency without having to beg for it. It's deep belly laughs instead of walking on eggshells. It's being able to disagree with your partner without fearing abandonment. It's choosing emotional safety over emotional intensity. Think of it like this. Think of soft love like a easy Sunday morning kind of love. Coffee in bed, honest conversations, knowing that even on your worst days, you're still worthy of tenderness. And here's the thing, when you've lived in survival mode, when you've been conditioned to earn love through your effort, this kind of love might feel foreign at first. You might even question it. I get that. You might even think, is it too easy? Is there something I'm missing? So there may be doubt for you at first. Because what's missing, there is something missing. But what's missing is the anxiety. But again, soft love isn't boring, even though it feels that way. It's actually healing. It's not about laziness. It's about the mutual effort that doesn't come at the cost of your peace or your authenticity. So if you're choosing soft love now, if you're waiting for the kind of connection where your nervous system can actually feel safe, then let me tell you, you are not asking for too much. You're asking for the kind of love you were always meant to have. The kind that's going to honor your softness and helps you stay soft, even in perhaps a hard world. So, according to the soft life movement, peace is the new passion. And the soft life is not just a trend, psychologists tell us. It's a rebellion against everything that told you love had to be hard and had to hurt to be real. So, my question is, are you ready for a soft love? Well, you're ready if you're no longer attracted to emotionally unavailable people. Now, you may have to sit with that a little bit, especially if you're in one of these trauma bonded, toxic type of relationships, because you may be attracted to this person. You're still in this bond with them. So you may have to do the work first. You may want it, but you're not ready for it. So you may have to do the work first before you're no longer attracted to the emotionally unavailable people. But if you're single and dating, pay attention. You're ready for a soft love when you don't confuse boredom with peace. Okay? So there's some self-love that's going to need to take place if you're in this transition between as well. Get self-love. It should require some self-compassion as you transition as well. You're also ready for a soft love if you can crave the support that your nervous system needs. If you're craving that support, craving that stability, and not the dysregulation that you're used to. Makes sense? So you got to really want it. So how do we get there? So for your nervous system regulation, some of the tools of the trade are going to always start with breath work. Really learn how to breathe mindfully. Okay? Lots of things on YouTube you can pull up for breath work, take a yoga class, anything that can help you learn to regulate your breath and to be in the present moment. Of course, therapy, coaching, journaling is a great way to regulate your nervous system. Really get out the emotions and the feelings from your head onto paper and leave them there. It's been proven to really help us. Now, another practice is inner child healing. That is something you may or may not be able to do on your own, but it's all about becoming your own safe space. And we said a lot of this stuff, this learning, this conditioning, your defining of love and what you accept in relationships may come from your childhood experiences and observations of love. So your inner child healing is very important for this. I have a Soul CPR course that's going to deal with some of that. There are, in therapy, certainly you can deal with your inner child healing, but that may have to be healed before you can be ready and successful in a soft type of love. The third, and I think possibly the final, most all-encompassing tip is be the soft partner that you seek, which first is going to require the nervous system regulation and the inner child healing. But be the partner you seek. Be kind. Have boundaries. Honest communication. Be emotionally available. Be a compassionate person. But if you are the people pleaser and you're with the toxic person, you may have all that in place, but you're also allowing that to be abused. So it's understanding it and having it. Self-love, you got to want it. You got to prepare for it. And then you can call it in for yourself. It is time for our third and final break. And don't go far, we'll be more with Soul CPR and my closing thoughts on this subject and other things that are trending in love and relationships. Don't go far, we'll be back with more Soul CPR.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorich, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Welcome back, everyone. As we're coming to a close in today's episode, I just want you to think about, as you're redefining love, that first you need to acknowledge the damage of prior loves that were hurtful and harmful in your life. And then you can work on healing the patterns of unhealthy attachments that existed for you, whatever those may have been. And then establish new healthy expectations, which include a new definition of love. All right. As we talk about this soft life movement, all encompassing for your entire life, including your love life, remember that soft love isn't boring. It's actually brave. It takes courage to stop chasing chaos and what you've known your whole life, perhaps, and choosing peace instead. You deserve a relationship that feels like rest and not rescue, perhaps is the right word. So I'm going to ask you to think about these 2 questions. What does emotional safety in love look like for you? That might be something you could reflect on in journaling. And where are you still confusing intensity for intimacy? So what does emotional safety in love look like for you? And where are you still confusing intensity for intimacy? I'll leave you with those 2 questions to ponder as you're considering ditching the drama and trading it in for the soft life love. And as always, you do not have to journey alone in this or anything that you're trying to make a change in your life. If you have an addiction to toxic relationships, or you recognize you're stuck in trauma bonds or unhealthy attachments, it's not your fault, it's your conditioning. However, it is your responsibility to do the work of healing to change your life. You're not the first and you're not going to be the last that's in this type of situation, but you do not have to be where you are today, tomorrow. Make a decision to change your life, and the first step's already done. Next, reach out for support and you'll be on your way. All right, I hope you found some inspiration in today's show. And as we conclude this episode of Soul CPR, Healing Out Loud, remember that healing is not a linear journey. It is a process of profound transformation. And if today's episode resonated with you, please share this podcast with those who might need a lifeline of their own. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help us reach more hearts. As always, you can connect with me at my website, skyviewcoaching.com, or on social media. You'll find me on Facebook at Skyview Coaching, or at Ann Papayotti on Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. And thank you, Zach's got the QR code there up on screen and the website as well. Let me know your thoughts, your stories, and the topics you'd like to explore in future episodes, and we're certainly going to look at them. This show is for you. There are other hot topics in love and relationships that I'm going to be bringing to you in future episodes, but I do like to know what you would like to hear about as well. Until next time, may you find strength in your vulnerability and courage in your journey. I thank you for listening. Breathe deeply, love openly, and live soulfully. Good day, everyone.
This has been Soul CPR with host Ann Papayotti. Breathe life back into your spirit with each episode, where she and special guests explore the relationships that hurt us and discover that healing can only begin with you. Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.